left, Drew Levin on the right. You're here watching live coverage of the Indianapolis Star City Games Open Series. Today is Legacy. This morning we had Black-Red Vampires win in the top 8, losing no games in the top 8.
Swept the top 8.
I believe he said he lost 5 games the entire tournament, so that's 5 games out of 13 rounds.
That's pretty impressive. It's a good win rate.
I'm Adrian Sullivan, and I'm joined here by
AJ Soccer, how's it going?
Now, I think that it's probable that you've got a horse in this race.
Yeah. Drew and I are pretty good friends, co-writers for StarCityGames.com.
It's a pretty good website.
Yeah.
Wow, 11, really? I run really hot. It's so cool. I've lost every dice roll today. That's why I'm 5-0.
The die roll is pretty important in this matchup, too. And from that little hand motion Nathan made, it looks like he won. Like being on the play and having Noble Hierarch into counterbalance, and then like having either a top or a brainstorm or something to make your counterbalance not blind is pretty much Drew's only chance for game 1. Or if Nathan just goes all in on a Belcher and he has the force of will, but.
Okay.
Looks like he does not have a win condition.
I think I see a Char Belcher in hand, but not
Is that
enough.
a Belcher? I think that was
And the third one from the right hand.
Oh, yeah. He does keep. Couple brainstorms, couple fetch lands in a natural order. If Drew knows what he's playing against, he probably can't keep, but I don't know if he knows. Looks like he did keep. Lions, diamond, go. Well, there's a land grant. That's a pretty good draw.
Absolutely. Like, what a great way to get this game going.
Yeah.
Let's see, Desperate Ritual. I think that's a Seething Song. And then I think that's Belcher, and 2 other cards I can't quite make out. Simian Spirit Guide, maybe?
Yeah, there's a Simian Spirit Guide and something else, yeah. So he's got plenty of mana available to him, especially with the Lion's Eye Diamond in play. Drew's got 3 cards to hit one of his 4 Force of Wills.
Results. Fantastic. I love to go searching for land.
Let's land grant resolve.
Man, which one do I get?
Nathan goes and gets the 1 Taiga out of his deck.
I get that one. Okay. You mean the only one? No. I didn't get the Bayou for a reason.
It's still always surprising to me just how scary Lion's Eye Diamond is capable of being.
Yeah. Remove Simian Spirit Guide, Desperate Ritual, up to 3 red, Seething Sum, up to 5 red.
Oh.
Drew brainstorms in response.
So, one of the things I like about how Drew's been playing this, he had his hands down on the table, he had his hand down,
Yeah.
like he had nothing. And maybe he doesn't have anything, but he wasn't, there was no tells going on, essentially.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
Well,
Packs it up.
Drew concedes. I guess he either made a mistake there or knows that Nathan only has 1 land. Because, I mean, I would make him activate it, If Nathan were me, there was a chance that he would spike that Bayou. But
I'm putting in things I can't get with Burning Wish.
So now Nathan's going to be bringing in Oh wow, he's got Xanthoswarms and Pyroblasts.
I know, it's crazy. And I don't think there's...
The problem with that is you dilute your deck so much.
But at the same time, even if you're diluting it, you have the ability to just wait a little bit longer.
Yeah. And then Drew is bringing in, presumably, 3 Pithing Needles, 3 Vendilion Clicks, and 2 Blue Elemental Blasts.
I still think there might be room for the Jit, but it might be just too slow.
There might be. I mean, it lets you like kill him with a Noble Hierarch or a Dryad Arbor, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, the Jit, just being able to be +4/+4 a turn and kill a Xanthid Swarm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if Drew can get up to 3 mana, Vendilion Click's a pretty big blowout, like, in response to their seeding song, you get their win condition out of their hand. It's pretty backbreaking.
You know, Vendilion Click always seems to prove itself in these ways. Initially, when it first was printed, I think it kind of was given a little bit of a kind of tepid response because the fairy decks of the time were largely being played in block. And for those fairy decks, there was always the fight over, is there a Bitter Blossom or not?
Right, right. It
And
just
then
trades with another 1/1 flyer.
exactly, and the Bitter Blossom was almost everything. And if not the Bitter Blossom, then the Scion.
Right. But then in the extended fairies decks, when you got access to Riptide Lab, that's really when the deck started to shine, because you could stack damage back then. So you like block, like get something out of their hand, trade with a guy, and bounce it with damage on. And then people realized how good it was.
The lab. Oh, man. I mean, I was just talking earlier, we were trying to brainstorm whether the Wizards-style fairy list was actually possible for Legacy, and in talking with Glenn, the feeling was basically that it probably was just too clunky.
Yeah. I mean, in Legacy you have Caracas instead of Labs, so you can just do that and kind of soft lock them, which a couple of decks have tried to do in the past. But Vendilion Click's especially good against combo because, unlike a counterspell, it like helps you stop them, but is also a pretty significant.
It's
clock.
a real clock. I mean,
And that's what you have to do against combo is not only disrupt them, but you have to get them dead before they draw out of it.
I mean, let's look at that diminishing returns on the board, right? Against another deck, like say a deck like Pro Tour Junk, that Junk deck might destroy all kinds of stuff, rip up your hand, tear things up,
Right, right.
and then you manage to get to your mana, diminishing returns, start it all up again.
Yep. Just undo all the work of the first few turns.
Okay, so now Drew is going to be on the play. And if I remember correctly, Nathan was on the play there that first time.
Yeah.
And he accomplished the kill on turn 2.
Yep.
We've got
Belcher.
Nathan Connor with Belcher, Drew Levin playing Bant counterbalance top with natural orders, probably sided out for the second and third games.
Nathan Jones, $10 round number 5 is waiting for you. Nathan Jones, please report to the main event stage where the red clipboard is being held in the air.
Looks like Dryad Arbor, Misty Rainforest. Drew's not letting me get a good look at his hand. Nathan on the other side.
Right
Looks like he has a
flame.
pretty good hand. He's got
Yeah,
a
if you
bunch of
charbel
mana
turn, you keep your
sources.
7, you almost always.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I think he has Empty the Warrens proper, so he doesn't have to deal with wishing.
When I see a deck like this, I always kind of think of whether or not Rashad would appreciate it. And I really can't tell, because Rashad, the reason he's a Llanowar elf is because he likes to make mana. He's nodding his head over there. He's like, yeah, I like mana. I make it.
Well, I mean,
You want to do something
Rashad-
more substantial with your mana?
Lotus Petal into Xanthid Swarm on turn 1.
Well, potential danger zone.
I think that's a white card in Drew's hand. the border looks white, but I can't tell if it's. Oh no.
Go. I see a Vendilion click in his hand,
He's gonna click on.
waiting
on
for the
turn two.
appropriate moment to click.
Yeah, you do it in response to the trigger, because then not only do you duress him, but then you just block the Xantid Swarm,
Absolutely.
which will let Drew. Oh, he just passed.
Wow, that's actually pretty sick.
Dryad Arbor. It's actually sick.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that Drew has the Vendilion click because he didn't send with his Noble Hierarch, but Lotus Petal, so he doesn't have to discard, passes the turn back. Drew drew 2 straight counterbalances, runs 1 out there.
With the Brainstorm in hand, he's able to make that counterbalance all the more effective.
Yep.
Does Xantid Swarm nullify the counterbalance?
No, they can't play spells. It's not an Autumn's Veil.
Okay. So in response to that, opportunity to cast the Brainstorm.
So you put a 1 back here, I think, either a 0 or a 1, but he's already played 2 petals. Probably just put a 1 on top.
I take 0. Yeah, cool. Maybe see that. Alright,
Chrome Mox.
He's like, bring it.
okay,
Okay, I see a Desperate Ritual. Desperate Ritual, Desperate Ritual.
Puts the Spirit Guide on it. Interesting. And then just passes. Well, now, I think he has another Noble Hierarch in hand, too. Oh, wow, he drew top.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
And
drew it off the Brainstorm.
with the Vendilion that I assume is coming down, that should.
Sure. Yeah. In response to the trigger.
I love how aggressive. Oh, you. Keep it.
Yeah, he doesn't have a win condition, I think. An emphatic block from Drew Levin.
No, I can't play spells. I'll respond. Oh no, I don't have a 0 on top. Yeah, go on. Fair enough. Go. Should totally be beating my face with that power.
Yeah, with counterbalance top and a fetch out, Drew's really in control here. He Jace Fate Seals.
That was a win condition.
Yeah.
He shows us pretty much.
Attack for 4, thanks to Noble Hierarch's Exalted. It's a straight 5-turn clock.
This is great.
Such a good fate seal. Nice burning wish. It's on the bottom of your library.
People probably shouldn't say that.
I mean, he knows it's either Burning Wish or Empty or Belcher.
Yeah, next game I'm going to get a Tarmogoyf
I'm
too.
surprised Drew cracked his fetch there.
And
Yeah,
step
it seems
Like, he doesn't
seems
need
like there's a lot of
anything else.
value in that, just so you have like more like
Yeah.
top counterbalance.
Yeah, you get more looks.
You have to know when you want to bounce around. Like,
Yeah, I think they saw it. You're at 12. They just saw the Taiga. You're at 12.
I mean, this is just game 2. He's getting ahead of himself here.
Fate Seals again. Lets him keep an Elvish Spirit Guide, I think.
With a flourish. You may keep, I will allow it. Like,
You can almost cast this one. Oh, you can. I can cast it. Do it. Get in there.
I'm absolutely tempted to beat your face with Elvish Spirit Guide.
Go for it. Only one way to find out.
Should I do sideways? Go ahead.
Then another fetch. Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Fate Seal again.
Oh, you can have that with the Spirit Guides too.
No. Oh well.
Vendilion sends yet again.
Correct.
That's the third attack, right? So Nathan's down to 8.
No, I believe it's only the second attack. No, they've just been taking a while. Playing up the theater.
Correct. I'm at 18.
I mean, I don't really see a way Nate can win, right?
No, I mean, he needs like 2 win conditions in a row on top of his deck.
And both have to be empties, I think, right?
Nathan tried to discard and Drew said, no, I have end step effects. Puts the card back in his hand.
Can I discard now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that one.
No, you gotta let me know. You're just like.
No. Have 8. I'm gonna get you on it in a sec.
no, no, no. You can keep that card in your hand illegally. I don't care.
Game 3 it is.
All right.
Okay.
game 3.
Game 3.
Well, if Drew didn't leave in his swords, then hopefully now he'll bring them back in.
See a couple of shifts happening from Nathan. And,
It looks like Nathan's taking out his Xanted Swarms.
Yeah, I think he's just going to go Pyroblast. Looks like he only brought in 3 Xanted Swarms to start.
I agree with that. You know, he's like just trying to, you know, like make Drew's deck worse. Because if Drew has enough dead cards, like
Yep, here come the
he can sneak ahead.
Pyroblasts. Oh, he boarded out a Burning Wish?
That seems like you can never do that.
Yeah,
right?
you can't really board out any of your win conditions. So that comes back in, boarding out another mana source for another Pyroblast.
That's fine. I mean, in game 1, the deck is nothing but mana source
Yeah.
conditions, so you don't really have anything else to side out. Like the Spirit Guides are probably the worst of your mana source because they don't
Well,
contribute
he
to
only
your storm.
he only has 1 land, so he's boarding out one of his land grants, which makes sense as well.
Makes sense.
So all 4 Pyroblasts and the Burning Wish come in. I don't think Drew made any changes. So
I'm
that-
kind of surprised that he didn't make some flourish of change and then not really do it,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, I'm changing 3 cards,
He's-
and I'll take them right back out.
He's the type of person that would do that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, it didn't look like he was shuffling in 3 cards and he just took them right back out. I thought he shuffled in swords and then I thought I saw
Oh,
him
did
take
he?
swords out. Yeah. So he's kind of showing his opponent his deck, isn't he?
Every game 2 I played so far.
Yeah, he is. Just casually.
What? I've only dropped 2
I'm gonna have to talk to him about that.
Yeah, that's a little loose.
I mean, I've only dropped 2 games today. One was to you.
Unless he has nothing to fear.
After the game. I hope you weren't looking for a kill condition.
Oh yeah, you're the guy.
Yeah,
that
he
does
just
therapy.
fanned a sword and Blue Blast. Just showing Nathan all of his all of his tricks.
So do you know all of these gentlemen?
Sure.
All of them.
Probably.
All of his friends are horrible Magic players.
Yeah, that's scrubbed out.
Some are so bad they're watching from home. Hi Eric.
What's up, Eric?
He can hear you. I don't. I I mean, they also hear us like journaling around, being like, "Look what I drew."
So yeah, it's possible that Drew did what Adrian was saying, where you hedge, like board out a couple of your swords, but leave in a few as well,
Yeah, that was such
which
a
makes
cool
sense.
deal, too.
It could have been so bad.
We know that Nathan boarded his Xantid Swarms back out, so Drew's swords are going to be pretty weak this game.
So I think that one of the things I've been really enjoying with Drew being here under the feature match cameras is he's the first person that's really, I've noticed, playing to the camera. You know?
Yeah.
Like, he knows he's being watched and he's happy to make a little bit of a show.
Yeah. Well, that's also kind of how Drew just always acts.
Right,
He's
right,
always
right,
putting
right,
on a
right.
show for somebody.
Well, when he walked into this back room that we're in, he came in with a little bit of like a strut, kind of
Yeah.
like a Randall strut, if any of you know what I'm talking about.
Looking at the
Here comes
openers.
Randall.
Openers for game 3. Nathan has
Simeon Spirit Guide.
some mana sources, an LED, and a Belcher, so he's just going to go for it. I didn't see Drew's hand, but for
2
his sake,
mana, 3 mana.
Drew's thinking about countering here to prevent a naturally drawn Empty the Warrens, which is fine.
4 mana.
I definitely counter here, though, and Drew does as well.
So instead, 1 mana.
And Spirit Guides should be removed, not in the graveyard, which is significant for Tarmogoyf's power toughness. So Nathan's left with just Seething Song and Charbelcher in hand and a Lion's Eye Diamond in play. The Lion's Eye Diamond actually should not even be in play. Nathan should have held that for a Storm on a later turn. Drew Pithing Needled, presumably on Goblin Charbelcher.
That would be the sensible play.
And now it looks like he's going to run a Raw Dog's Tarmogoyf, or Counterbalance out there. Or does he have a Tarmogoyf?
I mean, sometimes your opponents know what to counter.
No, stop it.
Oh, he has another Force. Yeah, Raw Dog Counterbalance. His hand's Force, Brainstorm, Noble Hierarch, and something else. Another land. I don't know if I play that land. I think that was kind of weak. But Noble Hierarch.
You don't necessarily need it. You can just brainstorm it away.
Yeah, you can brainstorm it back, and a fetch line is much more valuable.
Consider it.
Take 1. The clock begins. There's a fetch land.
I see a Force
You know,
of Will in his hand.
he could double his clock by getting a Dryad Arbor.
It's true.
I'm pretty excited. He held that land when he has a Brainstorm in hand. Main phase Brainstorm when he has Counterbalance in play. Drew.
I don't mind that so much. One of the things that some of the legacy players and vintage players I've talked to have said is that sometimes what you get off of a Brainstorm is just so powerful that cracking at main phase is just the thing to do.
Sure. And there's the top. And he's got the Counterbalance, or the Tarmogoyf for next turn.
And I don't believe he had that top previous to the Brainstorm.
No, he Brainstormed into it.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel pretty good with that main phase Brainstorm action.
I'm a
If you
big,
know the top is there, then sure. But I mean,
yeah, I'm a
the
big proponent of
brainstorm-
waiting as long as possible, especially when you have Counterbalance in play. It's
The
just,
other thing is, yeah, like, and I agree with AJ. Like, I understand that brainstorming main phase is like a powerful play. Like, if you're playing against like another like creature-based deck or like another counterbalance deck
Mhm.
when like they don't have a counterbalance in play, but against the combo deck, like you just really want to play as defensively as possible because once he has that counterbalance in play with the brainstorm in his hand, like he can.
That's absolutely
really just
fair.
prevent his
That's
opponent from
absolutely
doing
fair.
anything.
Because his
I agree.
opponent is a combo deck, I think that makes a lot of sense.
So now with lots of mana for his top, and yeah, he left the land on top, counter the Chrome Mox. Oh, he doesn't
Dryad
have,
Arbor right there.
he doesn't have any, he just has zeros, but he has a fetch land in play and is about to draw another, so he's going to get a lot of looks, and Tarmogoyf is a fast clock, especially with that Exalted trigger. So it's naturally 4 and deals 5 with Exalted. Is that what they decided on?
Yeah, it's a 4-turn clock.
Some discrepancy here. Get that life total for you in a second. Manamorphose. Not doing Nathan Connor any favors here, his deck. Alright, it's gonna get hit for free again.
It's leg, they keep drawing land. What do you have life totals at? 17 and 7. 8. At forced and I fetched.
He fetched and forced.
My life total is irrelevant. It may as well be like.
Yeah, it's like 50 billion too.
So I assume both these players are 5 though?
I'm at 18, he's at
Yeah.
23.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Go.
Nathan seems to be pretty good-natured about this whole
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to be pretty good-natured about the swings, the ups and downs if you're playing Belcher. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I heard a few players telling bad beat stories who are Belcher players outside.
Yeah.
You don't get that.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what that's what Christian Valenti in my mind. Even though has moved on from Belcher, he had a top 8 a while ago in one of these Star City things, but he's always just the quintessential Char Belcher player in my head because he's so good-natured and just like, yep, good beats. You know, you had the force of will. All right, like Magic's fun. Let's hang out and talk about how awesome that was. You know.
Just even playing a deck like Belcher against a Goldfish,
Yeah.
you're basically like putting yourself on percentages all the time.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
What is there? I don't know.
Exactly. and ironically, Christian, who has moved on from Belcher, lost the first round of this tournament to Belcher, and he was all smiles. You know, losing round 1, all smiles. That's the kind of guy he is. Recently off of his GP top 8, I guess I should also mention. I actually lost my winning in for that GP to Christian, and I couldn't even be mad because he's just so jovial and happy.
One of my best friends, Steve, went to Atlanta and he had no buys. He was X11 going in the last round.
Wow.
Got dream crushed by Ari.
Oh, he was the guy who got dreams crushed? Yeah.
Yeah. I've been good friends with him since I was like 12.
Wow.
Sucked.
Well, Nathan has to go for it.
I wish he was there to tell Ari he was my friend.
Spin it to
yeah,
the
no kidding.
You got a 1 on top there. So right there's the needle.
Yep, he
Takes that right of flame right out of the picture.
Yeah,
There we go.
Nathan needed him to miss. He has 3 fetch lands in play. Needed him to miss in 12 cards.
Yeah.
That's a rough call. And like,
Yeah.
you have to get so unlucky.
You're in a rough